Well, hello, and once again we're out and about, and today we're at the Japanese garden near Newquay, and I'm going to try and take pictures of maples. So I think you can see behind me the entranceway to the garden. Encouragingly, there is still some autumn colour left, although some of the leaves are beginning to fall. This is the last weekend they're open. Beautiful golden yellow leaf maple with the blue pot behind, the leaves on the timbers. There's just in the far distance there's a bamboo. It's all very peaceful. The only problem is there's probably a bit too much light. I would have liked a bit more cloud cover, so I might put on the polarizer. I'll have a go at that, see whether that helps with reducing the glare. Okay, camera's going to go on the tripod there. I may need to fine-tune the height and the composition to try and avoid too many distracting objects in the background. Okay, makes sense? Let's get on with it. And once again, let's get this level to start, and then at least we know where we're starting from. Now I need to get the height and the sun's gone in, so that gives us a bit less contrast. Get the camera mounted. This geared head is really good for this sort of thing. Yes, and with the sun in, it gives us a bit more leeway. Can you hear the chimes in the background? I think the camera needs to come up a tad because I've got a very bright spot in the top left corner. So I'll do that and then I'll come back. So that's got rid of that, but I'm going to have to redo the composition now to a certain extent. Actually, that's not too bad. What we've got is a branch in the foreground. I don't know whether we want that in focus or not. Another option would be to go wide angle. Actually, I think we could come a bit closer. I think that's more or less where we want it. You can always crop in, of course, if there's something not quite perfect. I think we're going to need more depth of field. So I'm going to go up to f11. Takes us down 2 stops to a 1/60th. So, but I'm going to remeter. So now we're at 30th, f11. So down 1 stop. And without further ado, let's put a cable release on, and we'll make the exposure. Dark slide out. A quick check of the composition. Oh, I think we could do it. Yeah, that's better. There we are, exposure made. We got the benefit of some clouds, so that really helps, I think. Now, what alternative compositions here? I think it might be worth sticking the polarizer on at this point. Polarizer, filter adapter, filter holder. Let's get those put on. So, mounting the Lee polarizer. This is a delicate and expensive piece of kit, and so it just kind of clicks into place like so. Once it's in place, you just rotate it for the maximum or the appropriate level of polarization, and I can immediately see it does make some sort of difference. So it's going on. We're losing a stop of light, so down to 1/15th at f11. That's giving us plenty of depth of field, but now it's getting a bit dark. So dark side out. Be interesting to see the comparison. Excellent. Dark slide back in. Right, so I've had to spend a bit of time fine-tuning this composition, so it's going to be a vertical. I haven't done the exposure meter reading yet. I imagine it'll be similar, but we'll need to check. Try not to drop anything in the meantime. Polarizer is still on. I need to check how well that's working. The reason why I had to fine-tune it, because it's quite a lot of depth that way, and I've got the choice of either focusing on the frontmost leaves, the actual tea light itself, or even somewhere in the middle, So I think I'm going to hedge my bets and try and take 2 exposures, one for the tea light being in focus but relatively shallow depth of field, so everything else is, if not blurred, certainly not sharp in focus. And then I might try one with something like f11 or even f16 with the frontmost leaves as your focus points, and hope that the tea light itself will remain in focus. Lots of lovely leaves on the ground. There is a moderate breeze. It's now gone overcast, which makes it a little bit easier. Not sure if the polarizer is worth its weight at this time. I think there is still enough bite for it to be worth having on. Bear in mind, got to add 1 and stop. So I'm going to go back to 5.6. Oops, not up to 22. Focus on the lantern. We're cocked and ready to go. Exposure meter reading. Sun's probably just on the verge of coming out again. It's suggesting a 30th at f11, but to add a stop for the polarizer, it's going to be a 15. So, dark slides out, cable release, shutter cocked. Let's do this one. Dark slide back in, get that advanced. Now, we go to f11. Right, so that'll be 2 stops down, f6. Now at a quarter, so possibility of leaf movement creeping in. So now we're focused on the frontmost leaves. The actual lantern is also in focus. So as the light is fairly constant at the moment, let's get this one. There we go. I don't know whether you heard the second click of the shutter. That's because it's a leaf shutter. The mirror up thing isn't the actual shutter, it's just takes it out the way, and then the shutter is a leaf shutter in the lens, so it tend to take sharper exposures at slower speeds, but you still need a tripod. So just setting up for another comp. I'm going to need the tripod to be pretty much fully extended for this, because I don't. There's a bright patch up there. Sun is coming and going. So we've got some cloud cover, so it's a pretty good mix, but it's just another angle on that particularly fine maple there. So get that level to start, and now we can start composing. Right, I'll talk you through the composition, which is not leaving anything lying around. Broadly, this tree from the left, which is holding things in, but there, the 2 low-hanging branches, not the blue pot, because that's a distraction at the moment. So camera set up over there, pretty much on the top of its tripod. I'll swing you around and show you that now. Need to make a exposure meter reading again and decide what depth of field options we want to have. Okay, so final composition for the Kodak Gold. This bamboo water feature. There are quite a few leaves around here, but I just want to put 1 or 2 on the surface of the water for my composition, just to give it a bit of life, because the colours of the leaves are pretty fantastic at the moment. Fallen off a cherry, I think, somewhere up above. So I'm going to have a couple of leaves to hand, just to sort of add a bit of interest. But first, I'm going to do an incident meter reading. So it's about a 60th at f8. Add another stop for the polarizer, so that's a 30th at f8. So let's dial those in, get some leaves ready, and go. Dark slide out. 30th at f8 is what we are. Let's get the focus right. It is, yeah, that leaf there I think is about the point. So I'll have both the water and the leaf I guess I could go down in the stop and get a 15, but I don't think we're going to get much water movement as it is. So there we are, we're set up. Let's go for it whilst the light is more or less the same. Still hazy sunshine out there somewhere. And let's add a leaf or two. Oh. Of course they didn't go the right way, did they? Bothers. Well, you take what you got. And that's the end of that roll. Right, back to load the Portra 400 into the camera. Bought this at a nice price from somebody who's selling off his film. So without further ado, let's get it in there. So this is the scene. The bamboo and the water basin, the maples coming through this sort of twisted tree trunks, the tea light, and beyond the little, I don't know, there's a temple, and there's even a waterfall beyond that. Lights out, sun's out now. See if we can get this image. Polarizer on. I need to fine tune and then make the exposure. Right, let's get an idea of light. Sun's gone in again. It's not necessarily a bad thing. And we're about 60th between 11 and 16. So we'll make that, well, take one off for the polarizer. That's a 30th between f11 and 16. So let's go for f16. There we go, f16. So that between 15 and 30. So we've got a 30th. We're f16. Seems to work. I think I might take one with and one without, if you can see me. Here we go. I've just got a little tiny bit of light, not a huge amount. Oh yes, we have now. Fast. I'm going to add the polarizer now for a bit of additional, try not to over polarize out there. Right, now to wait for the light to come back, which it might be just now. Right, add another stop. Oh, light's gone again. Not much time to make these exposures, the light's changing so quickly, which is fun. So we're f16, quarter of a second with the polarizer to take down some of the glare, just wait for the light to come back. So obviously composition, this red maple, the temple beyond, the water, the leaves, you get the picture. So one of the pleasures of this place is you can sit down and make images. There's plenty of benches and seats and all sorts around, which is quite good for me considering this peninsula makes me wobbly as anything. However, the camera is all set up, everything's locked in, nothing's moving. I'm just waiting for better light, which is hinting at it. It's not quite there. I might have to go with what we get in a second because it could change. Oh, here we come, here we come, here we come. And yeah, there we go. Image made. Long wait, but it was worth it. So that was a Japanese garden near Newquay and Morgan Porth, to be precise. There's the airport just over the way, and spaceport. I'll have you know, in Kerno we have spaceships, you know. Elon Musk, eat my shorts, all right? just saying. Okay, so that was a reasonably successful shoot. The conditions were decent. There weren't too many people getting in the way. It was difficult sometimes to find maples and other things that were in good condition because we've had such dry weather recently that some of the things were a little bit dry and crispy. Nonetheless, there were some compositions, so yeah, quite enjoyed that. Let's see how the images come out. Not quite finished the full roll of Portra. Might find something to shoot with them on the way back. Okay, over and out. See you in the next one.